So my name is CK Chen, and I am the business development from QNAP. And before we start again, I just want to remind everyone in the meeting, if you have a phone, you can dial in this toll-free number to give you better quality on the audio, so you won't have any cutoff in the audio. So let me go over the agenda. We have two parts today. The first part is to go over what QNAP is and what we offer and how to find the right product. And the second part, we'll go over the basics of when you get a QNAP, how to set it up. And there are several different ways. You can use a traditional PC or Mac, or you can use a local display like a DVR. And lastly, you can set it up using multiple servers for a CMS system or add it to your smartphone. So we'll get started with the first part. So who is QNAP and how long have we been here? So QNAP has been around about 10 years, and we have a parent company called IEI. And the reason why I bring this up is because IEI is an industrial PC company that has been around for about 20 years. And with that, we get the hardware expertise and support from Intel and many other platform manufacturers. So we have around 500 employees, and in this office from Los Angeles, where we do all the technical support, we have around 20 employees. So some of you, before joining this webinar, may have heard QNAP because we are very famous for our network attached storage. So if you are looking the price band of under $5,000, it's very easy to find QNAP because we are the #1 seller based on the raw terabyte shipped. So that is our main focus is network storage. But we also using this technology to build the security standalone Linux server. So with this background that I just showed you, that we have top-notch hardware engineering and the support and partnership with Intel and Marvell. And we build everything and manufacture in-house. Every unit is tested for 2 days straight before we ship to a customer. So they are in the best quality that we can put them under the stress. Secondly, besides the hardware, we also have the in-house team to build the software. So when you need support for any kind of software or hardware issues, that we can give you all the support in one house, under one roof. And lastly, we have very good relationship with the distributors such as CMT and also camera manufacturers like Brickon and Pixar. And we do a lot of long-term testing on these new cameras before we release them to our customers. So with what I mentioned, that for video security customers, there are two types of products. So the first type is the NAS box, which is a pure storage server that you can attach to any VMS. So this is not what we're going to discuss today. The main agenda of this meeting is to go over our standalone NVR servers. So these are Linux boxes that include the storage and also the VMS software. It's a standalone solution. You just have to put in a hard drive, an IP camera, and then you're ready to use. So it's basically a turnkey solution. So let me just share with you some of the trends and a lot of what this IP video surveillance trend is also telling us another thing, because let's say with high megapixel 1080p camera, which is probably the standard for today, if you want to record 1 year of storage for one camera at the setting that I suggest on the red box, which is right here, you're looking at 13 terabytes of storage. And with normal DVRs and VMS, you have to come up with your own solutions to make sure you can hold this much data. So the beauty of the QNAP, since we have very strong background in storage, we combine the storage and VMS aspect into our NVR. So what QNAP, the benefit for the end user is that we can provide a turnkey installation and operation right out of the box. And we are very prepared for large file size because our NVR standalone units are basically based on a very strong storage platform. And with our relationship with Intel and Marvell, we have very latest hardware platform and is fine-tuned and optimized for the HD video and megapixel solution that you're looking for. So in essence, the screen right now, it shows that under a normal deployment for QNAP device, which is sitting right here, this is how your network topology is going to look like. So on the local side, on the silo, you have your IP cameras. And also, you can hook it up like a DVR with the HDMI monitor. But if you, your customer or the property owner wants to check remotely, we also provide the web browser and also the mobile device on Android and iOS. So this is the solution. It's ideally perfect for small, medium business and also retail environments. So the next question many users like to ask is, how does QNAP NVR compare to building your own VMS from a PC? So there are a few differences that we like to point out. First is the platform. So you're comparing a Windows platform with an embedded Linux. So there's going to be difference in performance optimization and also vulnerability to viruses. So we all know that the longer you run a PC, there might be some plugins or some Trojans get on your PC. So the longer you run it, there's more risk of being exposed to some malware. But on the Linux box, it's inherently more safer to run for the long run. And also, if you include the initial cost on setting up on a PC to get the same amount of storage, you have to shop from different manufacturers for the hardware and also the storage. But with QNAP, everything's one box and it's ready to go. And other benefits are lower noise level because this is a box designed specifically for video surveillance, and also the low power consumption. So with all these qualities, we can give you improved performance, better management, and high quality components built specifically for your application of video surveillance. So the 6 key takeaway points for today is that this is a ready-to-go turnkey solution. It's easy to set up. There's only 6 steps, and I will go over a demo in the end of today's presentation. And there is, because of the strong hardware platform with Intel, we have embedded an HDMI decoder. What this means is that you can use a QNAP like a traditional DVR for the end user, but still have the benefit of IP solutions with the better quality videos and management. So one thing very important is that you can remotely manage your system. So we do this all the time with our installers and dealers. So sometimes when they need help setting up, we can remote into their system and help them to optimize the NVR or their cameras. So this is a very good benefit. Lastly, we work very hard with every system integrators to see what they need for their projects. And if we can work correctly, we can we can integrate the camera models that you need specifically for your project. And right now we have about 1,400 cameras added to our compatibility list, and also on VIF protocol. And lastly, you have secure storage based on our background in the storage server. So let me talk about a little bit about some of the unique aspects of our Linux standalone box. So first, I did mention that our background is in industrial PC and also network attached storage. So from the outside, you cannot tell all the work that we put into. For example, the first one, if you open up our box, you'll find that this is really a powerhouse. Besides the slots for the hard drive, every inch of the box is packed with really strong internals. For example, we have industrial PC level thermal cooling pipes, and also very high quality cooling fans built by Sanyo Denki, which is this very high quality fan, which is basically indestructible. At least that's what our vendor told us. But we are all using top shelf components in our standalone servers, which is hard to tell from the outside. And I also want to talk about some of the inherent technology that we have. For example, you have data reliability for your video files. So if you have never heard of RAID, RAID is basically a mechanism that allows you to have some failures in some hard drive, but still keep the data valid and keep the system running. For example, right here, the green box represents the hard drives inside your system. And we can have different type of RAID that can tolerate some failure levels. For example, right now, I have one drive failure, and the system is still running. And I can have up to 2 drive failures. And this is the benefit of using a RAID system. It not only gives you a big storage and faster read and write speed, but also give you the peace of mind of data protection. And the second benefit is RAID migration. So why is this important in today's topic? Because we have many users, even though they have a large system, but they don't always populate fully with drives. So let's say you start your project with just 2 or 3 terabytes, but in the end, maybe your customer wants to store longer or more cameras. So we let you do the RAID expansion and migration that upgrade your system by inserting newer drives without losing your existing data. So the users can still use the system, but then in the background, the system will upgrade your storage total size. And something else is very important that for the customer is a very easy to use user interface. So the screen that you see now, it's the same screen that you see on the Windows, on the Mac, on the web browser, and also on our HDMI port. So the user can use this very elegant and very intuitive interface, which we'll have a demo very quick to go over what each button does. And we also support 3D intelligent PTZ. So the users don't have to use a joystick. They can just click on the screen with their mouse, and the camera will pan and tilt and zoom to the right location. So this is a very smart and intuitive interface. So let me just give you an example here. So right now, if I plug in a TV into the HDMI port on the back of a QNAP box, this is what they will see. So if you click on this little icon which says the keyboard here, will pop up a virtual keyboard like a tablet, and then the user can enter the information without having a keyboard. They can just operate everything on the mouse. and then you can get into the main screen where you can control your system and start using it. So let me talk more about our HDMI local interface if you want to use like a DVR. So this is something that we're very proud of because of our partnership with Intel. We have optimized the hardware platform to use the internal HDMI decoder. So basically, the system has two processors. The first processor, which is a dual-core Intel, is using for the data processing and then the main system. But the second processor is embedded for the HDMI. So when you are watching something on the HDMI screen, the decoding effort is not being used by the main processor. It's actually offloaded into a dedicated processor for decoding. And if you're watching 1080p videos, you can have up to 180 total frames, which is approximately 6 cameras at 4 frames per second. So we also want to give the users a guideline. So on the top of the screens, you can select the number of channels that you want to use together. And then usually, if you want to have the better performance of the hardware Intel decoding, we suggest them to use under 6 channels. And once you get past 6 channels, the guidelines usually, if we need more power, we'll tap into the main CPU. And then there is a warning light on the screen that tells you how much performance you're using out of each CPU. So it's very intuitive, and it's good for tuning your system to maximize the performance. Some other hardware features that are very useful for installers and the end user is that we have the dual network cards on the back of the box. So there's different ways to use it. The first way is to failover if you want to have optimal availability and uptime. So that is the failover mode. And you can also maximize your speed by using the load balancing, which is you don't actually get more speed, but it's also similar to failover mode. The last mode is very popular. It's called the multi-IP settings. So that means you can have 2 IP settings on the 2 ports. So it's very popular. So usually we have some people configure 1 port for the network cameras only, so it doesn't interfere with your regular IT network. And some other users, like our own office, we use 1 port for remote access, so we can have the faster remote access speed using a separate internet service. So these are all very good tools for the system installer, and also the users will definitely experience the benefit. Besides the hardware, on the software side, we have some smart features. For example, you can set up different kinds of events that the system is waiting for. And when something happens, we can trigger the action. For example, sending an email, SMS, or trigger sending like a recording, or make a PTZ camera go to a certain preset. So you can program your system to the way that you want. For fisheye cameras, so we support 5 different brands of fisheye cameras. And besides using some cameras, they can use their local dewarping function, or you can use our own PC-based or HDMI-based dewarping. So the benefit is that you can save the original image inside your hard drive. But when you're watching it, you can change the layout on the fly. Like what I circled here. That I can change the type of viewing area that I want on the fly or on the playback. So something I want to mention now is that the next fisheye camera that we want to add in the end of June is Pixar. So we will send out a press release to all the people in our contact list about when a new camera is added to our compatibility list. And fisheye camera is really great for environments where you want to track the direction and location of the room. It's not going to replace a regular camera in terms of the resolution and details, but it will give you a very good sense of direction when you want to look for a subject. Another feature of our software is that we can help you find events by using the Smart Search function. So there are five different types of algorithms that you can use to help you find events without too much user interference. All you have to do is set up a time, select the area of interest, and pick the algorithm. And the system will do a search and will label everything in the red box and then create a separate playlist that you can go back to look at each event that we found on the system. So we have many case studies of users using this function to help them find some suspicious events or activities. And something that we are working on right now is a live intelligent video analytics that is running synchronously with the system, so you can use it to find events on the fly. The next feature is similar to a CMS, so it's called multi-server monitoring. So basically, you can daisy chain several systems together, and then the users on their PC, they can just log in to one location as a portal. So this is a free feature, and you can use this to as many QNAPs as you want to really combine them together. So the users will just see one interface, but for the different video images from different servers. And here we talk about our camera compatibility again. So here we want to talk about our mobile application, which is called vMobile. You can find it on the iOS, the iPhone iTunes Store, or the Android market. So we'll do a short demo of this in the end of the presentation. And just a sneak peek, we will launch a new app which is called VCam. So what VCam is turning your smartphone into an IP camera. So the application is still it's a very new application, so we are still interested to know how the users will want to use it. But for now, because we have received many user requests from our consumer users for this app, so we also plan to offer it for our security users. So this app is being developed, and we'll launch it very soon on the Apple Store. So thank you for listening to the presentations, and we want to take some time to go over a live demo. So in the live demo today, we will just go over the main highlights of the system, which is three parts. We have the live view, the playback, and then the management of the system. So now I'm going to switch my screen to a demo server that I'm running on the background. So right now I'm using Internet Explorer, and I can also use Chrome and also other types of Internet browsers. So the standalone NVR server is basically a web server that has its own IP address. So if you want to access it remotely, just type in the IP address like I highlighted here. So the first screen we're going to bring you in is our overview page. So this page will shows you the snapshot of each camera and also their status, if they're connected and what they're doing. Something I really like is that we tell you the instantaneous, the real frame rate that the camera is actually sending the frames and recording to the system. So you can use this to really fine-tune your system. And we also tell you the real bit rate that is recording to the system. So now I'm going to the live view page of the NVR. So I'm going to circle this icon right here on the top right corner. That stands for the live view. So while we're waiting for all the camera string to load up, I'm going to explain what each button does in the system. So here we see again we'll log into the live view, and the second button stands for playback, and the third button stands for management. And all these buttons here that I'm circling, they are your basic layout that you can change the view. So let's say you have too many cameras, then you can use the paging tools to look at all the different cameras. And on the right-hand side, this button is for multi-monitor mode. So if you have more than 2 screens, you can split your screen up. Click and drag different cameras into the screens that I want to look at. For example, right now I click and drag the breadcrumb cameras. So we can also use PTZ cameras. So right now on my focus screen right here, I will show you the intelligent PTZ feature that I talked about, which is very easy to use. So basically the users, like what I'm doing now, can click on the screen and the cameras will just pan and tilt or even zoom to the location that you want. Even though we support joystick, but you can use this feature, I personally feel this is much more user-friendly than using a joystick. And the next camera I want to demonstrate is the fisheye camera. So right now on my focus screen, this is the original 360 process image. And now what the NVR can do is that we can enable the dewarping mode. So even though we're recording the 360 image, on the user side, you can select what kind of viewing mode that you want to use, and you can change the viewing on the fly. And you can even digitally zoom in and zoom out. And we'll do the same thing on the playback section. And the third thing I want to show on this live view page is multi-streaming. So if your camera has that capability, you can select string that you want to come out of the camera so you can have the better performance or the better image. It's up to you. Now the next part I'm highlighting on the left side is our multi-server monitoring mode. So right now I have 2 NVRs hooked up to this account. So I'm watching 2 sets of different cameras from 2 systems on one login. So it's very convenient. So now I click on the second tab on the left corner, which is for playback. So on the playback page, we can have up to 16 channels playback concurrently. So if I press play, we'll pull up all the recordings that we have on that instance on the timeline. So right now I click on 8 a.m. So we have recordings from 2 cameras. And I can click and drag different cameras into the screen. And if they have video recordings, you can play back different cameras from different angles together. So on the playback, besides just pause and play, you can also zoom in or even fast forward to find something that you were looking for. A good feature that we would like to share with our users, if you want to know what resolution you're running at, we have a snapshot feature that can help you take a snapshot of the current frame. And we'll save it to your PC, then you can see what resolution or codec you're running. And if you want to export your videos, there is a button right here on the left side. When you click on it, you can select the time frame that you want to stitch together into one single clip. And when you say OK, you can select the location. And the system will just import to that location. And the last feature I want to show you today is our Smart Search Intelligent IDA, which is the last button that I highlighted. So you can enter a time frame that you want to search. For example, I want to search for, I'm looking for something in this time frame. I just entered the time. And I can select the kind of algorithm that I want to run. I can run multiple concurrently, or I can just choose one. I can select the regions. And when you start searching, you notice that any suspicious activities that is picked up by the algorithm is highlighted in red. And what is very useful is on the right-hand side, you will notice that we are documenting the event in 2 separate rows, in 2 different files. So when you pause the event, you can go back to each file and then play them again. And then you can see the section that we picked up using the red boxes. So that is the end of the demo. So we went over the management, the live view, and also the playback. So let us return to our presentation, and we'll go over the next section, which is called the model matrix. So we'll help you to find the right model with all the features that we just mentioned. So we divide our products into 4 different price bands for different kind of users. We have something from the entry level, starting the MSRP at $339, to a rack mount model for the server room environment with the higher throughput and better chassis. And they are on different CPU platforms. For example, this chart, you will see that we divide different kind of CPU platform by different color codes. So they will give you different kind of performance. But the most important thing for the user is how much storage you need. So we'll highlight it in this axis. So we have something from 2 bays up to 12 bays, depending on the storage size. And depending on the performance, we also have different types of channel numbers to handle the different kind of projects. And the third axis will also tell you the price band for the kind of product that you're looking for. So all these products, they all have the same features I mentioned, I just presented in the last 15 minutes. But with this slide, will show you their storage size and their capability and price range. So you can use this chart to find the right product. So here is just a breakdown of the network throughput and that you can expect for video, IP video recording. So it basically correlates to the last chart. So the higher the channel number, the CPU platform can handle more HD IP video. And now we are in the last section of today's presentation. So with all the features and then the model selection explained, now we will discuss if you are the first-time user for this system, how you would go about setup. So we'll go over how to set up when you are a PC or Mac user, or you want to use it like a traditional DVR, and also when you want to set up the multi-server daisy chain node, and also how to add it to your smartphone. So we'll go over this section very quick because I believe we'll pass the slide out after today's presentation. So if you're a PC user, the first time you turn on the system after you insert the hard drives, on the LCD screen, which is on the front of your box, I'm highlighting that right now, you will see an IP address. So like what I did in my demo, I go to my web browser and I type in the IP address and I'll go to the admin page. So after you get there, you'll see the screen that we were looking at together, and the system will ask you to go over 6 steps. So it's basically just creating a password, set up the time, give it an IP address, format the hard drive into the RAID volume, and add the cameras. So basically, we'll help you go over the 6 steps, and you're ready to go. So the same thing will happen if you want to use the box like a DVR on the HDMI port. So I'll go over step by step. So now assume you are using a TV plugged into the HDMI port. The first time you turn on your system, we'll ask you for the password. So you can create a new password for your system. The second step, the system will ask you for a time. So you can either manually create a time or sync the time with a global time server like this. So a question many users ask is that can the QNAP standalone server become an NTP server for my network cameras? And the answer is yes. So we are always broadcasting our NTP information. So if your environment doesn't have internet and you want all your cameras and every device to sync up the time, and QNAP can be that source that you sync the time. So just enter the QNAP IP address on the front panel of your LCD screen to every device, and everybody can sync up the time together. So the next step is just giving an IP address. So if you have preference, you can use the static mode, or you can just use the automatic DHCP. And then the DHCP server in your environment, if you have one, will just assign it. So the fourth step is want to format your hard drive so you can have the RAID array for the data protection and also the faster read and write performance. So depending on how many hard drives you put inside the system by this time, you can choose the different kind of RAID modes that I'm highlighting. So the default RAID mode is RAID 1 and RAID 5. But if you want more protection, we have other RAID modes that you can choose. And the last step, which is the fun part, this step you add the IP cameras into your system. So the information that we need are simple. When you pick a camera, for example, I have a Vivo tag, I pick the model, I give it a name, we will fill in the default password and an account for you. And what the user needs to do is just select the recording settings. Or you can manually insert the IP address. And before you go to the next step, always make sure you click on the test button on the left corner to make sure we can connect to the camera and it's working properly. So after you have all your cameras added, you can view them at this screen to see their name and then their model. And if you don't know the IP address of your camera, we have a search function to help you find all the cameras on your network and add it to your system. And this is the summary. And after you're on this step, the system will reboot itself and you're ready to use. So the next topic is that if you want to daisy chain more than one standalone NVR together like this, it's very easy. So basically you log into the server that you want to use, for example this one. So it's going to look like this. So there's the button which I mentioned in my demo, which is for adding additional servers. So when you click on this button, the system will also detect other servers inside the same network. Or you can manually add a new server. So after you added the server, on the left side of your screens, you will see the new cameras and then the server name. So you can monitor all your entire system from one portal. It will look like this. So vMobile is the mobile device on iPhone and Android. So to use it, the first time you turn it on, we'll give you a short tutorial to explain what this app can do. So after you open it for the first time, we can help you find the standalone NVR on your network, or you can manually add IP address yourself. So right now, if I am manually adding it, I just enter the IP address on the LCD panel and the password. So after you successfully added the server, you can create different kind of profiles. So you can, let's say I just want to look at outdoor cameras, and I can create that special profile. So when I have to find something, I don't have to look at all the cameras if you have a large system. So here I created 3 profiles to help me find the outdoor cameras and the indoor cameras. And the last step for using your mobile app is that you can use the button on the top right corner to select the right kind of multi-stream to help you achieve the fastest performance on your iPhone or Android. So with that done, this is the end of my presentation today. and I will pass the presenter back to Frank from CMT to go over any Q&A in the next session of his presentation.
All right, well, thank you very much, CK. Sorry we ran a bit through the time, so I'll close this up really quickly. If you guys have any questions, please email us, franklin@cmtint.com and ckchen@qnap.com. We hope that you found today's webinar very useful and valuable. We are going to be running quite a few more of these, and of course we will be making our own agendas, but if you have topics you feel that are important to be gone over with, please let us know, and we will make sure that it is included in all our webinars. And also, this webinar is recorded for later viewing, so if you have anyone that couldn't attend from your company and you want them to watch it, it will be all on our websites. And also, of course, if you want to go over it again, you can do it over. And just like I said, lastly, we have two cameras that we want to talk about that bundle with QNAP very well. And as I spoke about in the beginning of the webinar, CMT's focus is to always bring you the best service and also with the best pricing. So this camera from Brickcom that we're focusing on today, you see the specs. I won't go over and read them. Very standard, but also very high performance. And if you want some pricing on it, and because you have attended, please email me and we can give you the special pricing afterwards. The second to last camera is the Pixel 360 camera that also CK Chen discussed integration with QNAP very soon, most likely by the end of the month. There are indoor and outdoor versions. Both are day and night cameras. And let's see here, two-way audio is included on the indoor one. So once again, please, if you guys are interested in special promotion price for attending the webinar, please email me back at franklin@cmtint.com. And of course, if you have questions, email us too. Thank you for attending again, and have a great weekend.